false expectation, this fantasy, that as we grow more mature as a body, we will have less collisions. It's absolutely not true. The truth is, you'll probably have more collisions from the outside, and you'll probably have more collisions on the inside to answer your prayers to make you more holy, to give you opportunities to humble yourselves to one another. So we need to break the fantasy. Now I want to answer this question. Why mistreatment? Why? It exposes the great enemy of our soul, pride manifesting in anger. Pride manifesting in anger. The crucible places pressures on the human heart that expose the fault lines underneath the surface. Mistreatment and opposition touches places of pride otherwise unnoticed in our control environments. I remember when I was single, I used to think I was so holy. When I was single, I used to think I was so holy. If someone got on my nerves, I didn't hang out with them. If I was tempted, I could just flee away. When I was single, I could avoid every situation where I knew my present areas of weakness were in. And I want to say this. I remember when I got married, the great gift, the great sanctifier of a human being, if you'll cooperate, it is marriage. Because I couldn't hide. I couldn't run from her. I couldn't get away. We had the same bed. We ate at the same table. We sat in the same living room. We drove in the same car. Every opportunity for my weakness to be exposed was exposed. And I remember I came to a quick conclusion. There is a difference between sanctification and controlling our environment. There's a difference between becoming holy and just being undisturbed. You see, in marriage, you get disturbed. You get poked. And the worst part is because they spent time with you, they know what places to poke. It hurts. You can run, but you cannot hide. Marriage is the great sanctifier for those who will cooperate with it. I thought I was holy, but really, I found out there's a difference between holiness and being undisturbed. And the scary thing is, if I would have stayed that way my whole life, I would have appeared before the judgment seat carrying exactly the same thing that was in my heart, though undisturbed. You see, God, the great gift of God in mistreatment is that it disturbs and it shakes up that crust in hidden places and makes it come to the surface. It's like the little snow globes. You remember? It all looks fine, and then you shake it. It just, all the fuzz, all the snows comes up. That's what happens with pride and anger when we become mistreated. All the fault lines begin to show. All our systems begin to break down, and what's natural comes out. We could put in there what's fleshly comes out. What's fallen comes out. What's been undisturbed in our own controlled environments is no longer settled. It comes to the surface. I remember I quoted Richard Foster, but it hit me in fasting. I remember I would be, when I would first fast, and still to this day, the first day when I'm detoxing and sugar and white flour and chili dogs and everything's coming out, I would be so grouchy. And I remember I would always just say, well, honey, get over it. I'm grouchy. Okay, I'm fasting, all right? And I remember reading Richard Foster's book, and he described the same thing. And one day he was praying before the Lord, and the Lord told him, said, Richard, you're not angry because you're hungry. You're angry because you have anger in you. Anger is manifesting because you've been disturbed. Your systems have been disturbed, and what's natural in your heart is coming out. That hit me like an arrow. Does that hit anybody else like an arrow? I mean, you keep a cheeseburger away from me long enough, and I'm mean. Anger comes up. And the day I had to face that, it's not hunger, it's me. I'm mean. I am mean, period. That's the issue. And the issue is you're mean. You're filled with anger. And I'm filled with anger. And so mistreatment allows it to come to the surface so that God in His kindness can deal with it in our lives. See, we need to receive mistreatment and opposition as from the hand of a loving Father bringing forth a greater work of sanctification. Redemptive suffering counts. If we know that, we can endure the process. Because here's why. The process is not going away. You either embrace it or you are forced to deal with it your whole life, kicking and screaming, learning nothing. But nonetheless, it's coming. It's coming. We say it this way. Recognize our resident anger. Be honest with it. I've had to stare at this in my life. I've had to be honest with the resident anger in my heart when things do not go my way. Rachel and I practice this a lot. When someone offends us, the other one will always jump in this position. I love it. She's good at it and I'm good at it. It happens that we feel wrong. We begin to share our heart. And the next thing you know, we go, well, I wonder how they're feeling. What led them to that? And why would they do that? Let's get on their team. What's the core reason? What's causing it in their heart? Let's get on their team. Let's try to help them. Let's bless them. Let's pray for them. Instead of defaulting and letting anger become your defense attorney and going, how dare they?